Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video. Y'all, I wanted to touch base on this Draya and Jalen situation. First things first, y'all. I want to say this, and I want to say it from speak from all sides. Um, I do believe that Drea was her. It's hard to judge her behavior. I will say this, and when I say it's difficult to judge her behavior, um, I don't know her reasoning, her thought processes. So I don't really want to get into, I guess, the conversation that everybody's really been talking about. I will touch on it briefly, but I'm not really going to stay stuck there. First things first, I, as a woman, right, I would never date a man that is significantly younger than me. I really do not prefer a man that is younger than me. And that's primarily due to the intelligence levels, the maturity levels. Like, I just don't have the patience for it, right? So I've always preferred a man that was usually my age. He's still, even at my age, they're still somewhat immature. And I just think that's just males, maybe not all, right, but a lot. But I still prefer, because I feel like someone who's more within my age range has just kind of more, can relate to me more, if that makes sense. So I personally prefer someone within my age range. I'm realizing the older I get, the more likely that may never ever be the case, right? And it's very interesting to me because if you ask me right now, if I was to ever be like, I don't personally, you guys, I don't feel like I have anything in common with a 21 or a 22-year old, right? So therefore, I'm not really around people that young unless I'm having to be, right? So, for example, I work with a few young people, right? So I deal with them at work because I have to, right? Not because it's really my thing. Um that's also part of the reason why, just so you guys know, I feel like I don't have, I'm a bit, not, I'm not an outcast, right? But I feel like I have no one in my workspace to kind of relate to. Like, I'm always having to overcompensate to be able to relate to the people that I work with because of the significant age differences. Obviously I rock with the younger people a little bit more, I would say, than I do some of the older ones. But that's because we're closer in age than I am some of the older people. So naturally for me, I just prefer a relationship where it's flowing and I can relate to you, you can relate to me, we like the same kind of stuff. Like, that's just me. Okay. So I would not be 39, at least right now in my mind. I just don't see what I have in common with a 22-year-old. I also know that it is difficult for women, right, who want to be in relationships, but unfortunately cannot be in a relationship because all the males their age are telling them, we're dating young women. We're not really interested in you. You've hit the wall, all this shit, right? So when a man does come around and he does see you, depending on where a woman's at in her life, she may fall susceptible to that shit. I'm not saying that Drea did not have a play in maybe being in the right place at the right time to attract this somebody. But y'all cannot convince me like this man didn't knowingly get involved with this woman. Knowingly and willingly, right? Because she's still a very beautiful woman, right? Let me be clear. She actually looks good for 39. That's what, see, I guess, y'all, this is why I say I'm about to be single. I already know. I knew when I hit like 31, I was gonna be single for the rest of my life. Like it was official because a lot of the stuff that's being taught right now, I don't really rock with, right? So for me personally, how I kind of see it, and this is just, um, if that's what both parties are wanting, right? And they're both okay with it, I guess I'm not really seeing why the outrage is there. I do understand that, okay, she's got a little bit more power, a lot of bit more power, more experience, more everything than he does, right? But males, I think this is a lesson for the male to really pay attention to where you placing your stuff, right? Because in his mind, guaranteed this man wanted to get laid, and guaranteed he wanted to get laid by the woman he got laid with by. Okay. So while everyone is like, oh, she's so old, like, obviously, she's still able to pull these kinds of little boys that don't know no better, right? They know enough to know whether or not she's old or not, whether she hit the wall or not, right? And he's still making the babies with her. I'm just saying. I'm not saying this is the right way to go because again, I have really been committed to myself in the sense that I would not have a baby outside of wedlock, meaning that I know for a fact, unless some random thing happens and God is like, nope, you're meant to be with this specific person. I know that I'm going to be single. Like I'm already accepting that. I already know that. I already know that about myself, right? But I feel like when you're a woman of status, when you're a woman of money, regardless of how you got there, right? You have the ability to pay, pay, pay to play. You have the ability just like a man does, honestly. And I think that a lot of the outrage is coming because she's a woman. Now, with that said, do men get flack for dating young women? Of course, but that's usually from other women, not really from men. Like you don't really hear the backlash from men. Right now, though, a man can clearly see, oh, that relationship ain't right because it's actually the male on the other foot, not the woman. So I don't know that I really, like I said, I don't have no dog in the race, right? It's not my kid, it ain't my relationship. But I do think it's interesting how you have women that are now turning the tide because the reality of the circumstances, this woman may never get married, right? I mean, it is what it is. So if a young man is coming by and he sees something in me, and again, I would hope that at that age, I've kind of worked through a lot of the I'm desperate and I feel lonely, right? And I need validation from a male because while it was still, kind of be cool, okay, you gave me a compliment, you seen me, you noticed me, right? Um I don't want to be so desperate to where I just accept anything. Again, I know that this boy comes with a bag, right? So realistically, for a woman of her, like her, this is not something that's beneath her, really. I know that sounds crazy, but that's her. This is her element, all right? So having a baby with this young boy, I mean, despite that she has a son that's his age, which I don't even want to go there, y'all, because it just seems weird to me. Um, but it is her element. This is her field. This is the field that she's been playing, the game that she's been playing pretty much all the time that we've ever known of her. So it's not really beneath her. I think it's a lesson for the young man to realize, like, yo, you could be doing better if that's what better looks like, if there's better out there. Like, I don't know. Now, I know people are saying, well, when she's 61, he's going to be paying child support and yada, yada, yada. Okay, like this is like, and men, y'all don't get the same level of grace. And I know it's fucked up for men. Like males think that, oh, I should get the same level of grace as a woman, right? And the reason being is usually the young girl, hence me, I've experienced this, where I'm naive, I'm dumb, I don't have no proper guidance. I had my father, but my father was pushing me to go get married. And it's like, in this day and age, you can't really tell kids that's your end all be all like goal, right? Because you'll end up in some shit chasing love, okay? And that's just my thoughts. That's just where I'm at with it. However, um, I do feel as though the man is held to a different standard because of the way the man kind of thinks and is, right? Like I said, I don't think this man went into the circumstance with any other thought in his head outside of the one that's in between his legs. Usually women go into these kind of situations with thoughts all up and through their head, okay? Unless they're really types of women that are just seeking, money, monetarily gain or whatever at that age or whatever, like, and that's all they're thinking about. But I will say that usually women have a lot of thoughts going in their head, and a lot of times they're not being told the truth. They are being manipulated. I get y'all can say that Draya manipulated him. It's very hard for me to see that from a woman on a male, and that's only because I know damn well is this man's not gay. He was sexually attracted to this woman. He knocked her up. He got her pregnant. He knew the consequences of getting her pregnant, even at fucking 39, right? So I just I don't have the same level of what's the word, oh, she took advantage of him. I don't know. I don't know that I feel that way right now in terms of the money, in terms of what she was striving to do, because obviously, like I said, as I'm not even her age yet. But there's no reason for me to be around a 22-year-old unless I have to be, right? I've said this already. So I do agree that there was alternative motives, but I feel like both parties co-signed on that shit. That's just what I feel, man. I don't feel like he gets that pass, bro, because again, you're not dealing with a man. Now, if it was different, if he was like a virgin, right? Or I don't know, but I don't feel bad for the young male, right? I don't have the same level of feeling that I would have if it was a woman who, let's say the circumstance was the exact same. My heart will go further out to the woman than it does the male right now. And I'll always ask myself, do I hate men? Do I hate men? Because I know men love to say shit like that. But I just, again, this is a male. He's 22. Like, I remember being that age. And I remember what the men were like, right? And I just can only imagine what it's like with a male with money. Like, if y'all thinking this man did not want to F that girl, he did. And again, she played her role in being seen by him. But ultimately, this is a grown ass man who had made a decision. And whether he was thinking properly or not is, I mean, that's on him. It's not the same. And I know men want to be treated equally, and I don't know. I don't see males as females, right? I don't see men as women. Like, it's totally different for me. So I get men when they're saying, oh, this is going to be a toxic relationship. None of y'all, I mean, nobody really knows that, right? I mean, I don't know. I get women have a history and she has a pattern, but nobody really knows. All you can do is speculate. And then I heard one man say, well, she shouldn't even be having babies. Well, clearly God saw differently because she got pregnant. I mean, I didn't know that women weren't supposed to be having babies after a certain age. I know that the risk is a little bit higher in terms of, putting your body in all this extra stress, and, things can occur the older you get. But I Women are having babies at 40 something, right? Women are getting married in their 40s. Maybe not all, but I mean, I don't know. I think we place too much rules and standards on people to some degree, okay? Because again, you wouldn't see me with no 22-year-old. But I think that's all about the mental. That's all about your mental. If you identify, if you're 20, if you're 50 something and you're hanging around a 22-year-old, to me, that says the 50-year-old is more like the 22-year-old than the 22-year-old is. And that is kind of weird. That part is a little bit strange, right? I don't have nothing in common. That's why I said, if she secured a bag because he was being dumb, well, let this be a lesson for him. It ain't really for her. I mean, y'all can shame her all day, but the bitch is who the fuck she is. This is her element. That's why I keep trying to, like, y'all are mad at Draya for doing what Draya do. Like, like, okay, so she was supposed to stop. She was supposed to retire. She was supposed to. So because no man her age, which is another issue in itself, but no man her age was checking for her. So a younger male, isn't this what men say, that women hit the wall? Like, she was supposed to hit the wall. So she shouldn't have even been able to pull a 22-year-old man, according to their logic. So I guess, like, it's very like I said, we got all this smoke for the woman instead of realizing, as a young male, this is a lesson to learn. This ain't really, if I was a mama and this was my son, this bitch would not be around my son. But then again, that's not my choice. For this is what a lot of people don't understand. Folks got to live their goddamn lives. So I don't know. I would have to trust that as my child is growing up, I've given them the tools, right, to make the proper choices. And if there are some decisions that they're making that are, kind of questionable, I can always mention it. But like I said, this grown ass man is making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. Can't nobody probably tell him nothing. I say probably because I don't know the young man, but I know young men. Do you understand me? So at this age, for him, and it sucks because I'm a woman, I went through this shit, right? And I hope that Drea doesn't utilize her experience as a means to try to control this man, or abuse, for the word, right? Not this man, right? um but this is what this man signed up for. This is what he got into. So we can blame Drea, right? Is Drea wrong? Is her choice wrong? I mean, it just wouldn't be me. Okay. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot there to unpack. And it, again, because I don't know the woman, I don't want to assume that maybe, you were desperate. The things that I could naturally assume, because the only reasons I would do something like that is if I was desperate. I think at 40 something, we got to realize, as you get older, and I'm still young in my spirit, right? I still wear my crop tops and stuff because I feel like my generation, right? When you're fit and you still look good, you shouldn't have to hide the shit. Like, you shouldn't have to not. I should be able to show off the fact that I got a flat tummy. Meanwhile, girls younger than me can't even keep one, right? I should be able to show off the fact that I look good, right? So I'm a little bit I'm a conservative girl, but I'm still very liberal when it comes to my dressing. I don't dress like a mom, right? I dress like a single woman. Do you understand me? It's two different things. um Basically, my daughter could take everything that I wear now and mimic it as she gets older, and it'll still be appropriate but still be cute for her to be able to attract boys and shit, if that makes sense. I don't dress down. I don't wear t-shirts and fucking tights and sneakers. Like, I like dolling up. I like looking good. And if that means model looking good, then that's what the fuck I look like, bro. So I don't knock Drea for, like, at her age, she looks good. And I just think that we live in a society where there are so many rules right now, or so much confusion, really. It ain't even rules, it's confusion, where males are saying women hit the wall at 33, and if you ain't married by this time, even though half of those marriages really don't last. So these people go through their 20s married and end up divorced in their 30s, they late 30s or 40s. Like, I don't know that that was a path for me to live. I think God was like, bitch, if you just gonna get divorced, you might as well stay single. Right? I'm just I'm just saying, like, I don't there's no I understand that women are like, oh, I want to live the married life, right? And sometimes I think about, like, what if I found I don't know about me finding him, but what if he found me? What if the man for me found me, right? But then I also got to realize I'm black, right? I'm getting older, right? I don't adhere to a lot of these talking points that these males be on nowadays. Like, I'm just too smart. I'm too intelligent for some of the shit that's going on these days. So for me personally, the male has to be genuinely strong enough for me, and there's not a lot of strong men. So that's the problem. It's like, I'm intelligent, and because of my intelligence, I'm going to test you, and not test you like put you through a whole bunch of stress, because my life is good, right? I like peace. But I will be, it's a way of testing without testing, right? Without you knowing that I'm testing. I'm analyzing you through and through, because I want to make sure that the person that I'm with, if this is what we doing and we supposed to be spending our time together and growing together and being intentionally dating and all these things, well, I need to be paying attention to who you show me that you are, and who you say that you are, and who you show up as. So yeah, I'm gonna be, like I said, I just, maybe back in the day, if there was ever such a man, but I don't feel like the men of today, the level of conversations that we're having, like, if a man is still talking about how he wants me to need him when I want him, and you're telling me that I don't wanting you is not enough, I have to need you, that's not realistically gonna work for me, sir. Like, them kind of conversations don't work for me. So I don't see myself getting very far in the dating world, because I'm not what these men adhere to, right? I'm not what they say they want. Do you get what I'm saying? So for a woman like myself, as I grow older, I think my biggest goal, and this should be all women's goal, is to ultimately find, and I say find a way, like it's difficult, but it is difficult for some women to learn how to be alone, learn how to be happy alone, right? I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people miss the mark on, is learning how to love thyself, learning how to be alone, learning how to genuinely not just be alone, but to be happy alone, how to enjoy your own company alone. Because in the event that you are alone at 40, 50, 60, a young male that's young enough to be your son is not going to be able to swindle you into doing nothing you don't want to do. And I don't think that this was that type of situation, to keep it a buck. I really believe they both went for it. They both, with eyes wide open, for different reasons, right? The boy is just amazed with Draya because of whatever he felt. Like, men trying to play Draya like she ain't gorgeous. That woman's beautiful. And she don't got no wrinkles yet. I mean, well, some days she look like she don't get enough sleep, just like me, right? And some days you look a little older at times, right? You may get a little bags under your eyes or whatever. But ultimately, that woman can really, if you didn't know her age, right, and you didn't see her around, she really could compete with the average 22-year-old. That's where I think men are just, for me, the disconnect is not really connecting for me, right? Like, I don't get it, because I don't understand the idea that women hit the wall. I don't know what that means, right? I don't know that men really know what that means. If the idea is that we become less attractive, we have lower birth rates, Drea is showing you that ain't true. Like, I mean, she's not the only woman, right? It's a ton of these women out here 40 living their best lives looking like 20, and you're like, what the fuck? These women are 60. Women are starting to digress in age a little bit. So, I mean, if males can do it, and I don't agree when men do it, right? Just like I really don't agree with the decision that was made. But then again, like, I mean, if I had some hot young male and I was 40 some and he was checking for me and he rich, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. As a woman, you would think that at 40 you got your grandma hat on. But I don't think that I don't want to say it like this, but I don't know that we're necessarily in those times. I think that grandma is more even 70, 80. Like these women are looking younger and younger every day, and you be asking them their age and they're 70, they're 8, they're 60. Like I don't know, right? This is what we say, that women don't have options because they hit the wall, but it's okay for men to do it because men have options when they got money. It's like it's either okay for men to do it and women to do it, or it's not okay for women to do it or males to do it. That's just how I see it. And I feel like it's selective outrage. We pick and choose who we get mad at and who we get mad. It's a lot of dark skinned males getting mad at Draya because it wasn't them. Just saying. Like that's just my thought process. Right. I don't know. Right. And if this is her way of securing the bag, I mean, that's what she's been doing her whole life. Like, I just, it's wrong now because she's 39 and the male is 22, but the male went into it wide eyed. Like, I just, if anything, this is a lesson for the young man, right? And hopefully he will do better pickings if this is not a healthy situation for him, which it very well may not be. Hopefully he utilizes this situation as an opportunity to learn to control himself and exercise discipline. Like males have to be doing that too. The fact that men think they could just be fucking anything and anything, that's scary. Like that's nuts in itself. Then you just having babies with women you really ain't vetted. You really don't know if she's worthy of your baby, but you over here having babies with her. The fuck? This is why I'm single, because I see all this shit in my mind, and y'all, I can't just have a baby by anybody. Y'all hear me say this all the time. It's the truth. I'm not subjecting my daughter to no crazy shit behind no man she don't know and I don't know. That's number one. Okay? I'm not finna be dealing with no man that cannot do for the kid that he spits out or he helps create. Right? I'm not having babies by no man that got mental health issues. Like there's a lot of shit that I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I know I'm picky. I know this for a fact. That's why I say if I was Drea's age, I would just pay to play. Like I would be at that age where I know I'm fine. So the men around me that are my age that don't ain't checking for me, that's a you problem, boo. In the meantime, I'ma be like Madam, y'all on all the Queen's men, except without the gangster shit. I'd be the girl who would play, because at that point, I would think that you could play with anything. You could have any male you want. I guess I see it a little differently. Women should, at some age, at a certain age, I don't know about getting pregnant and all, but at a certain age, a woman has earned that spot. Like, I know this sounds crazy, but just like how men do, was she supposed to just dry up and shrivel up and not play? Like, y'all are crazy. Unfortunately, she played with a dummy and the dummy lost. It just is what it is. I don't know. I don't know that I'm as mad as Dre. I think as people want to be. I think people want to be mad because she's a woman. And maybe her history isn't the best, right? And now you got these men that are like in droves, like trying to attack women from every angle, every side. And half of these men don't even got their own shit together, let alone to be talking shit. You just mad it wasn't you. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't feel bad for the young man. I think that, we have a little bit more smoke for people than what people actually have for themselves or their situations, right? I think that this young man got into the shit. I think he knowingly got into the shit. I think he was not thinking very clearly. He didn't think it all the way through, but he thought it enough through to get his dick wet. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm the fuck, and he's 22. He knows how a baby is created, and if he does not, then that's a problem, right? That ain't nobody's problem but his. And like I said, it was on the women, if he had any women around him, to put the bug in his ear and put him up on game. Hey, just so you know, this is this kind of woman. Because if it was my cousin, if it was my brother, if it was my, whatever, I'm not gonna be on his, I ain't gonna be sitting there riding his, because I know a male's gonna do what he wants to do. He gonna do what he wants to do regardless. But out of love, I'm gonna put it in your ear. Hey, homie, just watch out for this one, right? It's on him to listen. It's on him to take heed. And sometimes people have to take that L. That's something I had to learn. I had to learn how to take that L so I could live the rest of my life in peace. I had to take that L so I could understand that I was I was worth so much more than what I settled for and what I bargained for. Do you understand me? Sometimes you got to go through things in order to know better. And see, he's a man and he ain't a woman. He ain't about to hit the wall at 34. Women are still going to be checking for him at 34, at 35, at 40, 45. Well, that's kind of changing too, but y'all know what I'm saying. He's still got a lot of room to go. So it's a lesson for him. It ain't for me to down and drag another woman. Like that ain't really my place because I don't see this situation as the young male going into it. I want to marry you and I want a wholesome wife. Like and Draya just played him on that. They got exactly what they were looking for. I just don't think the man expected to knock her up. And I mean, he's got the money for it, so he's gonna do what is right. But maybe she was hoping that she got knocked up. Who knows? But they're good for the situation, each party. Like it just, I mean, no offense, 22 or not. Keep your dick. I don't even mean to say it like that, y'all. But first of all, strap the fuck up. If you got a bag to lose, common sense should say, I ain't getting now one of these chicks pregnant. If I was a man, y'all, and I was making his kind of money, I would be so cocky and arrogant and be ridiculous. Listen, you couldn't even get close to me, right? Without like a 10, you gonna be all the way across the room before like if I was a male with that kind of money, first of all, if I was a man, period. But if I was a male with that kind of money, bitch, you gonna have to work for this. You understand me? Like you gonna have to really work for this shit. Like for real. I don't even understand why men think it's cute to be giving it up. It's more attractive when you keeping the shit in tight and in your pants. Just saying, when a girl knows that the next girl can't have you, that's even more attractive. It is. Trust me. I know. So this man, he got too much money. It's too many men out here and women too, right? Because I'll be damned. That's another reason why I'm single. Because you ain't now gonna come into my life now that I built something and you think you finna live off of me and get where take everything I got. That's another reason. Because men are just as much gold diggers as women, as they say. Right? So I don't know. Like I said, I don't feel bad for the man. I think the male got into this knowing what he was getting himself into. I just don't think again, you have to have that foresight, like that sight that allows you to see beyond the moment. Okay, so what if this happens? And any man with money, period. Like I mean, I just thought that was boss 101. Like you should already know. Like if you got the bag, bitch, you listen, you ain't out here getting bitches pregnant and shit. Like if you gonna get somebody pregnant, it better be your wife. Like what the fuck are you doing? That tells me he don't have a man in his life teaching him nothing. Cause that's actually a man like Jada Kiss. I listened to a song by Jadakiss. It's called Cartier, right? And it's one of my faves. Okay, it's newer, whatever. The hate on me, don't like it, like it. But he clearly states rule number 3. I don't wait. I would have to sing the song in my head. But one of them rules that who's on the track with him? It's somebody else that's on the track with him. Laughing my LMFAO, I think, maybe. I could be wrong. But it's somebody like that on the track. And they're telling you, he's like, yo, when I got money, this is basically, he's showing you like this is the rules for when you come up and when you start making money. Like, this is the game. Like, he's really teaching it, kind of like I used to listen to that. Well, I still do. But when I was going through my hustle phases, like when I say hustle phases, like my hustle and bustle phases, like when I was on the bus trying to make ends meet type shit, like I'm still doing that, but just at a different level, right? So when I was down in the trenches type shit, right, I would listen to that song because it helped me to kind of remember, okay, this is where I'm going. This is where I say I want to be. So this is kind of how I have to move, right? And I mean, there's other songs that I'm sure have that info in there too. But I like this song. And one of the things he says, if you got money, you better stick with a condom. Period. It's just common sense. You just knocking up anybody. So this is more of an L for the man. This ain't, I don't know why the heat is on Draya, because Draya's always been Draya, right? She's always been promiscuous, as they say. She's always been a hoe, as they say. She's always been attached with some sort of male that's making money, yada, 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 right? That's who she is. That is never going to change. You can take the girl, the hoe out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the hoe, or whatever. Or y'all know what I mean. You can take the girl out of the whatever. We making that saying, the girl out of the hoe and the whole girl. Y'all know what I mean. It ain't left her. So I'm not mad at Draya, because Draya gonna do what Draya do. And no offense, she secured a bag. Okay, so no offense, like times is hard out here. Shit. Go ahead, girl. Like, do your things. It wouldn't have been me. But I'm not knocking nobody. Like, at the end of the day, in my opinion, OnlyFans is just as bad, right? When you're dealing with these women on fucking Instagram showing off all their entire bodies to the world, I feel like that's just as bad. But we don't have that same level of smoke for a lot of different things. So if we gonna say, girl, get your money for them, all these little girls going naked on Instagram, then why not Draya getting a bag from a 22-year-old who wanted to smash? Like, the fuck? I'm sorry. The man should have been taught better. He should have been taught how to carry himself when he comes around hoes and groupies. Sorry. A groupie's gonna do what a fucking groupie's gonna do, whether she's 39, whether she's 60, or whether she's 22. Just saying. So I'm not surprised by Drea's actions. I really am not. I don't care. I don't feel any type of way. I don't have a daughter that watches Drea. Like, we're not really into those kinds of things over here. So I ain't worried about it, right? But I mean, if my daughter ever chose that profession, which I don't ever foresee that happening, but if it was ever the case, well, damn, maybe she need to take a few pointers or two, right? But outside of that, I'm not all up in arms with Drea. I think the women that are all up in arms with Drea have something to prove. Right, they got something to prove. Like, and it's always male related. Like, I'm centered around men, so I got to prove something, that this was wrong and it was disgusting. Okay, and bitch, it ain't you. So what the fuck? Why do you care? Drea ain't even black. Like, if I'm looking at her, she don't even look like me. So okay, she want to make all the Spanish girls look crazy, then let her do what she do. The fuck? Like, that's what that's what y'all are not understanding. Women are putting too much smoke on this shit for a hoe that's always been a hoe that will never change. It's the man that's young. He's the one with the potential. No offense, you can't change a woman.